Hello everyone, welcome to Brilliant Public School online edu classes. Today we are going to learn Nazism and the Rise of Hitler, part 2, which is third chapter of class 9th history. In this part, we are going to discuss about how the democracy was destructed soon after Hitler became the leader and how he reconstructed Germany. Let's know the reason how Hitler rose to power, or we can also say what made Hitler the leader of Germany. It was economic, social and political crisis. People they were horrified by Germans' defeat. There was shortage of food supply. In 1919, he joined German Workers' Party. Then there was a naval blockage by British fleets and military became weak. Later on, America joined the war. These reasons gave Hitler a path to become the dictator of Germany. Hitler was born in 1889 in Austria. He spent his youth in poverty. In 1919, he joined a small group called the German Workers' Party. He subsequently took over the organization and renamed it the National Socialist German Workers' Party. This party came to be known as the Nazi Party. In 1923, he planned to seize control of Bavaria, march to Berlin and capture power. He failed, was arrested, tried for treason and later released. The Nazis could not effectively mobilize popular support till the early 1930s. It was during the Great Depression that Nazism became a mass movement. As we have already seen, after 1929, banks collapsed, business shut down, workers lost their jobs, and the middle classes were threatened with destitution. In such situation, Nazi propaganda stirred hopes of a better future. In 1928, the Nazi Party got no more than 2.6% votes in the Reichstag, the German parliament, but by 1932, it had become the largest party with 37% votes. Hitler was a powerful speaker. His passion and his words moved people. He promised to build a strong nation, undo the injustice of the Versailles Treaty, and restore the dignity of German people. He even promised employment for those looking for work and a secure future for the youth. He promised to weed out all foreign influence and resist all foreign conspiracies against Germany. He devised a new style of politics. He understood the significance of rituals and spectacles in mass mobilization, held massive rallies, public meetings to demonstrate the support for Hitler, and instill sense of unity among the people. The red banner with the swastika, the Nazi salute, and the ritualized rounds of applause after the speeches were all part of this spectacle of power. On 30th January 1933, President Hindenburg offered the chancellorship, the highest position in the cabinet of ministers, to Hitler. By now, the Nazis had managed to rally the conservatives to their cause. Having acquired power, Hitler set out to dismantle the structure of democratic rule, and for that he started punishing communists, most of whom were hurriedly packed off to the newly established concentration camps. The repression of the communists was severe. Out of the surviving 6,808 arrest files of Dusseldorf, a small city of 500,000 population, 1,440 were those of communists alone. They were, however, only one among the 52 types of victims persecuted by the Nazis across the country. A mysterious fire broke that time in German parliament building in February facilitated his move. This fire decree of 28 February 1933 indefinitely suspended all civic rights like freedom of speech, press and assembly. that had been guaranteed by the Weimar Constitution. Then, on 3rd March 1933, the famous Enabling Act was passed. This act established dictatorship in Germany. It gave Hitler all the powers to sideline parliament and rule by decree. All political parties and trade unions were banned except for the Nazi Party and its affiliates. The state established complete control over the economy, media, army, and judiciary. And this was possible because there was a fire decree in the German parliament in which the complete civic right were suspended. This is how Hitler was able to establish dictatorship over Germany. Later on, a special surveillance and security force were created to control and order society in ways that the Nazi wanted. Apart from the already existing regular police in the green uniform and the stormtroopers, these included the Gestapo. Gestapo, they were the secret state police, and the SS, the protection squads, criminal police, and security service, SD. It was the extra constitutional powers of these newly organized forces that gave the Nazis state its reputation as the most dreaded criminal state. People could not be detained in Gestapo torture chambers, rounded up and sent to concentration camps, deported at will, or arrested without any legal procedures. The police forces acquired power to rule with impunity. Germany was reconstructed in following aspects. Hitler assigned the responsibility of economic recovery to the economist Haselmar Sachse, who aimed at the full production and full employment through a state-funded work creation program. This project produced the famous German superhighways and the people's car, Volkswagen. In foreign policy, also Hitler's acquired quick success. He pulled out of the League of Nations in 1933 and reoccupied Rhineland in 1936. Later, integrated Austria and Germany in 1938 under the slogan One People, One Empire and One Leader. He then went on the West German-speaking Sudetenland from Czechoslovakia and gobbled up the entire nation. In all of this, he had the unspoken support of England, which had considered the Versailles verdict too harsh. This quick success at home and abroad seemed to reverse the destiny of the country. Hitler did not stop here. Sachse advised Hitler against investing the hugely in rearmament as the state still run on deficit financing. Cautious people, however, had no place in Nazi Germany. Sachse had to leave. Hitler chose war as the way out of approaching economic crisis. In September 1939, Germany invaded Poland. This started a war with France and England. In September 1940, a tripartite pact was signed between Germany, Italy, Japan, strengthening Hitler's to claim international power. Puppet regimes supportive of Nazi Germany was installed in a large part of Europe. By the end of 1940, Hitler was at the pinnacle of his power. He now moved to achieve his long-term aim of conquering Eastern Europe. He wanted to ensure food supplies and living spaces for Germany. So he attacked Soviet Union in June 1941. In this historic blunder, Hitler exposed the German Western Front to British aerial bombing and the Eastern Front to the powerful Soviet armies. The Soviet Red Armies inflicted a crushing and a humiliating defeat on Germany at Stalingrad. After this, Soviet Red Army hounded out the retreating German soldiers until they reached the heart of Berlin, establishing Soviet hegemony over the entire Eastern Europe for a half a century thereafter. Meanwhile, the USA had resisted involvement in the war. It was unwilling to once again face all the economic problems that the First World War had caused. but could not stay out of the war for long as Japan was expanding its power in the east. It had occupied French Indochina and was planning attacks on US naval bases in the Pacific. When Japan extended its support to Hitler and bombed the US base at Pearl Harbor, the US entered the Second World War. The war ended in May 1945 with Hitler's defeat and the US dropping at the atom bomb on Hiroshima in Japan. From this brief account of what happened in the Second World War, we may conclude about the story of Helmut and his father's story, a story of Nazi criminality during the war. So we'll be continuing this in the next slide that will be discussing about the Nazi worldview.